This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
Wow. So that was what? That was back in 2013. Yeah, that's cool. I guess Sony lived long enough to become the villain. Hi everybody, this is ZeroEchoZenith. I guess, well, PlayStation unearthed something. They have wrought something upon the countries, all of them. PlayStation support has confirmed that a new digital rights management policy for the console is intentional, not a glitch. Starting with any digital games purchased after the March 2026 system update, your PS5 will require an internet connection at least once every 30 days to validate the license. Great! I love purchasing digital-only games and then not connecting to the internet for a month because some sort of disaster happened, or maybe I just can't afford the internet, and all my games are gone. Or rather, I just can't access any of them. Great! The console stays offline longer than that. The game simply will not launch until you reconnect. This change does not affect any titles already in your library. Setting a console as your primary system will not bypass the monthly check-in. So, talk about death of the consumer being able to own things that they buy. This is another nail in the coffin of having to rely on update and game servers in order to access your online content. Great! Man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. Thank you for your interest on the 30-day timer that is being applied to all new purchases. Affected content. Games purchased digitally after the March 2026 update. Offline functionality. If the console does not connect to the internet within 30 days, the license expires and the game may refuse to launch until a connection is restored. The 30-day is a valid period and is not a sign of an account restriction or anything like that. Thanks, PlayStation. So this is sort of reminiscent of, I guess, Steam also having that requirement, but that is opt-in for developers, especially using things like Denuvo and just third-party DRM stuff. A lot of games on Steam don't require an online connection in order to reactivate the games after a while. It's mostly part of the developer putting that that requirement into their game releases, as far as I understand. But yeah, so we've got that same thing here. Culture Crave, they say the exact same thing. Okay, this is a PlayStation News article as well. User contacted PlayStation support and they confirmed that the DRM issue is intentional, not a bug. I also thought it was a bug, so I didn't want to report on this exactly until I figured out or found out. Is this legit, or is this just an issue on Sony's part? It was legit. This sucks. This is not good at all. This further pushes people into, you know, relying on the internet. Well, I guess I'm done buying digital games starting today. Turns out it wasn't a bug after all. Yep, right there. Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Remaining time, 28 days. Yeah, they now all have a time limit. You can fix this by connecting to the internet. Yes, of course! That's not the point. If I buy something, it should be mine. Why do I have to rely on an internet connection? If you bought a digital game, which means you bought a license to play it, that license is tied to your gaming account, which requires an internet connection access. This is a non-issue as long as you regularly play on your account for any gaming platform. They don't understand. They don't understand about ownership. I don't even want to read the rest. I've also been experimenting with this, and I can confirm that if your CMOS battery dies, any digital game with the timer becomes unplayable again, even if the console is set as the primary. This is a digital game I purchased with money yesterday. I didn't claim it with PS Plus. Yeah, so if your CMOS battery dies, you either somehow get it fixed or buy a new console. As far as I understand, the CMOS battery is effectively like the internal clock in your console. So yeah, the PlayStation DRM thing is very real. I bought digital games on the PS3 not too long ago, just have an extra copy, and then played fine as is. Logged on today and was met with this. They were working just fine without being on the internet, and these were PS1 and PS2 classic games. Let's see. This content has a time limit. To perform this operation, go to Settings, Date and Time Settings, Date and Time, and then select Set via Internet to set the time and date. This is probably the response to the PS5 firmware being jailbroken pretty easily. Oh, it was? Oh. The response to people pirating their games with no time limit is to hurt real consumers? Yeah, that's what I don't understand. If their account doesn't exist anymore, or like they don't want to log into an account that's old online anymore, but that account owns a bunch of games that they bought, and they want to enjoy them 10 years from now, 15 years from now, do they just not have access anymore? Like, can they just no longer have it even if the game is downloaded? But they have the game, it's downloaded. Shouldn't they own it? I know. Oh, well, they buy a license for it. Well, this is a massive wake-up call for console owners. PC games have been using this kind of format for a long time now. Actually, no. Consoles have been using this format, but it's been kind of flying under the radar because people don't really understand. The whole, like Sony and Microsoft using discs that act more like keys, where the game isn't fully on the disc, you have to download the rest of it online. I bought and played the PS5 release of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I knew what I was getting. Yeah, the game isn't fully on the disc. The disc acted as more like a key, and I had to download the rest of the game online. Oh, but you can't store over 100 gigs on a Blu-ray disc, or it's very difficult and it costs so much money. Optimize the game. I don't know, or bite the bullet and get a better disc that can hold that much data. I don't know. It's not really owning it, you know? And then this is the same problem with Nintendo and game key cards. And then people are like, I don't want to hear anything about game key cards anymore. It's not that invasive. It's fine. Oh, it's not a problem. You just hook up to the internet and then you can get your game. People really saying just connect to the internet. It's not a big deal. That's not the point. God forbid a natural disaster happens or you can't pay your Wi-Fi bill 1 month and just can't play games you paid for until you reconnect. Or you buy a game key card, but you don't have the internet to download the game. Oh, just go to a library or an internet cafe. Yeah, whatever, but still that's not the point. Especially if the game is like 60 to 70 gigs or whatever. If it doesn't matter if you have internet, it's a matter of principle. You shouldn't be okay with PlayStation arbitrarily taking away access to games you spent your hard-earned money on. The more comfortable you get with this, the worse it will get. True. We're frogs in the pot and they're slowly raising the heat, and some of y'all aren't noticing. Y'all! Potential major DRM issue rolled out by PlayStation. Oh yeah, this is when it was first discovered. And Xbox as well. Allegedly, all new PSN purchases now have a 30-day validation countdown. Already investigating to find out more details. Well, does it play? Did investigate. So this is how this works. Would you look at that? Does it play was scrambling within the last 12 hours trying to figure out, is this real? And if this is real, then how is this working? Is it really having to check in every 30 days? Well, Sony's digital DRM issue of mandatory activation. Let's read. Mentioned earlier in the thread how I had a game that was affected by this, and which subsequently fixed itself. I've been doing some further testing to try and understand what is happening. I have a jailbroken PS4, so I can poke around at things behind the scenes. Here's what I found out about how licensing seems to work in the PS4. The PS4 will install a license file for all of the content your account owns, regardless of whether or not that content is actually installed. This is a key point if it is true that they are addressing a license exploit. This happens automatically. So if I buy a game on the PS Store website and then turn on my PS4, the license for that recent purchase is automatically installed. Whether or not you can actually use the license for the game is then further controlled by the activation state of your console, okay? i.e., it is set to primary for offline play, or whether you're online and connected to PSN, in the case of non-primary consoles. In either case, those license files always seem to be present. These license files are valid for an indefinite amount of time for content you own outright, 14 days for content from PlayStation Plus, Extra, and Premium, and for the duration of your subscription for PS Plus Essential games. What has changed now is that new purchases are not being automatically issued a license file with an indefinite duration. Instead, a 30-day license is issued. There's the rub. I have two recent purchased games I've been able to test this with. Game 1 I purchased on the 9th of April. I turned the PS4 on April 21st, and a 30-day license for the game was automatically installed. I then installed the game on the 25th of April. The information screen confirmed the game was only playable offline for another 26 days. Approximately 30 minutes after installing the game, the license had been replaced with a new one, which is valid for an indefinite amount of time. And this remains the case even if I delete and reinstall the game. So that is 16 days between the initial purchase and the license showing as being eligible for permanent offline play. Game 2 I purchased yesterday, April 27th, and I installed the same game. Again, a 30-day game license for the game was installed. Unlike the first game, no permanent license has been issued yet. So why is one game behaving differently to another? The obvious thing which stands out is the length of time since purchase. I've owned the first game for 16 days, which put it outside of PlayStation or PSN's 14-day refund window. So I'm speculating that perhaps people were exploiting the fact that you could purchase a game, grab the indefinite license file for the thing off of an exploitable PS4, and then refund the purchase. And Sony's currently mitigating this issue by time limiting the initial license that you were issued. So the way how this says is there is a perpetual license that activates after the 14-day refund window. We don't know exactly, but we'll have to see a month from now and see if people that are choosing not to do this, like not to connect their console to the internet to reactivate this license to see if it doesn't actually, like, allow them to play. Oh no, it already happened. This person on a PlayStation 3. No. You have to check in every 30 days. This person just saw that there was kind of like a perpetual license after the refund period and see if that is confirmed anywhere else. But no. So basically after 15 days, you can play offline forever on the game you purchased recently, correct? Ideally, yes, unless your CMOS battery has issues. So the PlayStation 3 CMOS battery was probably dead, so that's why they couldn't play the game. Then they introduce a new surprise for you with this update. So, okay, say it's past the 15-day mark. If the PS5's CMOS battery is out, it should now play offline, right? I mean, in theory, based on the findings. If it got the eternal license, it should play despite the C-bomb. We'll talk about the C-bomb in a second. Our tester tested older purchases that supposedly already had such a license, and they worked. Thanks, you guys rock. I guess we'll wait for 15 days to see if this renewal permanent license works. So there's indeed a new DRM system, but it works for the first 14 days, and once the window closes, it goes back to the OG licensing system that we are used to, or did I read the article wrong? That's basically on that front, yes. I see. So then it's confirmed the last few days were nothing but fake outrage. Not necessarily. Parts of it. They still snuck this in secretly and restarted the C-bomb. Enough to be concerned. Here's what it is. Make no mistake. Only because part of the Sony DRM fiasco wasn't planned doesn't make it any less egregious. The opposite, rather. They deliberately introduced more DRM, this is another form of DRM, knowingly have everyone in panic mode over the changed UI, and resurrected the C-bomb all in one fell swoop. So what is the C-bomb? C-bomb information. C-bomb, or CMOS plus bomb, or error, whatever this is a coined term that describes a defective and or dead CMOS battery, causing time to be unsynced from PSN servers. This in turn causes both physical and digital media to be unable to be launched. What is a CMOS and what causes the issue? In an effort to discourage cheating in terms of how soon trophies are awarded, the PlayStation Network requires consoles to maintain an accurate time and date setting before games, both physical and digital, can be started. Without a connection to PlayStation Network, consoles would rely on a CMOS battery to maintain the time and date. If a console is unable to obtain an accurate date and time from PlayStation Network due to loss of connectivity and CMOS battery charge combined, games can be rendered unplayable on it, as trophies and saves would not be able to assign a correct date and time. A dead CMOS battery would revert the time and date to 12/31/1969, 5 p.m. A simple replacement of the CMOS battery would not be enough to restore the system clock, as it still requires a PSN sync. And I guess this was used to exploit PlayStation 4s or whatever. So, if your CMOS is dead, say goodbye to your digital games. So your PlayStation 3, you probably have a dead library. Same with PlayStation 4 if you have a dead CMOS. Same with the PlayStation 5 in the future when you have a dead CMOS. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I am not a fan of this. Let's see here. There's a meme. There was a meme. There was a meme. Here's a Dreamcast. A beautiful Sega Dreamcast. Oh no, my CMOS battery died. I can't play video games anymore. Haha, just kidding. Yo, what time is it? Yeah, so earlier consoles will reign supreme because you can still play games on them. What about disc rot? I mean, you know, you could probably just press a disc if you have the technology and still play the game. This whole over-reliance on the internet to access games that you buy 100% digitally, this is just now yet another issue that we have to face. This is great, isn't it? This is great. Here, YouTuber Spawnwave has confirmed that the DRM on PS5 is real. Digital games stop working without an internet connection. Sony has brought the equivalent of Denuvo to consoles. This is like the equivalent of Denuvo on all consoles. This sucks.
CMOS battery door, and with one Phillips head screw, the battery comes right up, and that should now have reset our licenses. So now I just need to turn the system on, leave it disconnected from the internet, and we'll see if we can load up any of those newer games. All right, back to the dashboard. The time you can see is all messed up. It's supposed to be just after 4 p.m. Eastern, and it thinks it's 7 o'clock. Yeah, you can see it's defaulted back to 2011, 12/31/2011, 7:01 p.m., which if I did connect to the internet, it would fix the date, the time, any of that. But with that in mind, let's see what happens here when we try to fire up Saint Slayer. And there you go. Can't use this content. Can't connect to the server. To verify your license, wait a while and then try again. Okay, so Saint Slayer does not work. Vampire Crawlers, same deal. Can't use this content. Can't connect to the server to verify your license. Okay, wait a while and try again. With that in mind, Crimson Desert, get picked that up when once it came out, more than a month ago now. And we picked that guy. Yeah, looks like that one fires up no problem. Digital game. The whole idea is that this situation that's going on right now with the license check is not being retroactively applied. So any of your current digital games should not have this issue popping up.
So it seems to be only newer bot digital games from the latter half of March. So by April, if you bought any games digitally, they've got the timer. If you don't have your CMOS battery alive, or you don't have a CMOS battery and you're not connected to the internet, no library. Hey, look at this. Look what this person posted for this. This is very phony. Yeah, this is the state of things that we're in. People keep adding to this. Look, there's GOG. Look at that. Look at that. Little ownership. Little DRM-free ownership. But then I saw some comments. My proposal for Nintendo in that image. GOG should be that image of the skeleton lifting weights. This one? Yes. Someone added GOG as the skeleton lifting weights. And someone else said, notice how the two goats aren't there, itch.io and GameJolt. I don't even know what GameJolt is. I had to look it up. So I did my own edits. Listen, this image it keeps growing because it keeps being proven over and over again that this is what's happening with, like, the entire industry, the entire gaming industry at least. Only time will tell what will happen next. This is ZeroEchoZenith signing off. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next time. Buy a game on sale and play it to your heart's content, but only if you first bow to digital DRM.